Well, what in the smooch do we have here? Rent a Girlfriend 385. If you haven't read it, it was bad. It was terrible. I don't know what to say about this series anymore. It's literally just the worst writing I've ever seen in the past few years, or maybe of all time. Holy, it's terrible. But besides that, we're just gonna hop into it. And yeah, short and sweet chapter. It's really just some tomfooleries going on here. So we're off of the train wreck of the date, right? You've probably seen it everywhere. Kazuya gets rejected. So basically, a rundown on the last few chapters. Chizuru and Kazuya went on a date, and this was kind of the finale of Chizuru's research saga, in which Chizuru was trying to determine her feelings for Kazuya. What was the result of this? Well, she rejected him, right? And she gave the reasoning saying, I love you, or I think I love you, but just not yet. You know? That was kind of the gist I got from it. And then after that whole rejection, we kind of just milled around, not really doing anything. Kazuya kind of just being Kazuya. He is a little more serious in these chapters, but still he's just kind of being a doofus, right? But basically the day after the date, Kazuya was supposed to move out, because Chizuru and him and Yaemori, Minnie, they were living together, right? So yeah, that's this chapter. They're moving out, and Kazuya, he's just saying, oh, I'm just gonna be on my way. He's carrying a big box right outside of Chizuru's house. And yeah, they're just having a small back and forth. Kazuya is kind of embarrassed. I mean, who wouldn't be? He just flat out got rejected after all of this intense buildup. And then the other thing that's kind of throwing him off is that Chizuru is just acting completely normal. And I guess Kazuya's just super embarrassed just because of how Chizuru's acting. She's just acting super nonchalant about it, that she basically just flat out rejected him, at least in his eyes, right? But it's time for him to go, right? You know, in his mind, he's imagining the situation to be some heroic type of thing, where Chizuru's like begging him to stay, but his heart just got broke, so I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know. I do feel a little bad for Kazuya in this situation, right? Because he's like, he feels so lonely, because I mean, who can he really fall back on, right? The only person who kind of has his side in the situation or could kind of support him is Yaemori, and she's not even there. She's not present at the house. I think she went to like a friend's house the day before. Maybe she was expecting some action to go on between him and Chizuru, you know, the night before, like the night of their date. But I actually kind of wonder what happens. I mean, probably not much once they got into the house. I thought that was going to be a cool little moment that we're going to have, at least a chapter of them like getting back to the house. But no, we didn't. You know, Kazuya just pulls some white knight move and carries Chizuru on his back. And now we wake up in present. I don't know. Weird chapters. Don't like them. But yeah, that's what we have. So after Kazuya daydreams about Chizuru just begging for his love, he snaps back to reality. And yeah, he's just thinking about everything that went on in the date, right? He's saying that, you know, he's kept his mind, he's made up his mind already to keep loving her no matter what, and that he's just thinking that Chizuru already said what she had to say, you know, last night. So, you know, he walks off into the distance, a little sad. He's just going towards the gate, you know, to exit and finally leave. But, you know, he's having a little bit of trouble because he's carrying a box. So Chizuru helps him out. And yeah, this chapter is mostly, I mean, there is dialogue, but a lot of it is kind of visually shown through just Kazuya in his mind, just remembering back to the past. And he's just thinking about his stay with her and Yaemori, right? How it was so much fun, and how he just got to see new sides of Mizuhara, right? The crux of the issue. You know what? I'm not even gonna talk about it. If you already know, you know, if you know, you know. Call her cheese and get the cheddar. That was nasty, but you get the point. He needs to get off of this Mizuhara train. It's just not it. But yeah, then we get a panel of Kazuya just looking very sad, right? And he's just thinking, oh, I'm gonna miss her, right? You know, I do feel bad for Kazuya, right? At least sometimes, you know, he wasn't born to be this pathetic loser, right? He was destined for so much more. But the author of Rent a Girlfriend just had to screw up his character, right? I'm completely joking. He deserves everything that's happened to him. But besides that, he is really sad in this moment, right? He doesn't really know what's gonna happen in the future, right? Because he was really riding on this whole Chizuru relationship working out, you know, and it was looking pretty promising for the past 100 chapters. They were getting pretty close together. They were living together. They went on dates. They did interact together. They had cute moments together. And yeah, it ended like this. And I mean, he was kind of banking on this being the end-all be-all, right? You know, he's mentally checked out from the Ruka relationship. But yeah, maybe we'll see him crawl back to her. Maybe not. I just hope she gets back in the story, man. I mean, after seeing the end of this chapter, I kind of understand that that ship has long sailed, you know. Ruka's just not gonna be a thing at this point, but, you know, we can all have dreams, right? Dreams never die. But you know what? He ends up stealing his resolve, and he tells Chizuru his parting words, "I really meant what I said yesterday." Chizuru knows exactly what that was. We all kind of know what that was. He's basically saying he's gonna keep the promise from back then, right? No matter how long it takes, he will always simp for you. That will always be his number one. Chizuru is always gonna be his number one queen, princess, like whatever kitten, bro, like anything, dude. Like, he would bark for her, I think. But that was kind of his parting words, last thing he said. And then he hops in the car, hops in the taxi to leave. And yeah, dude, I can't, bro. I can't. I hate this shit so much, bro. This is terrible, dude. What happens next is Kazuya has prepared himself for this mental battle of war and attrition, right? This being where distance makes the heart grow fonder. You know, he's gonna go on his odyssey and not see Chizuru for a little bit. That's kind of what he's thinking right now. But what we get is Chizuru walking up to the door of the taxi, and Kazuya's a little surprised because he wasn't expecting this. He was expecting, you know, his gallant departure, you know, not saying goodbye, walking with his head held high. What happens is Chizuru leans in the car and gives him a kiss. Oh no, oh Lord, bro. Wait, what happened, bro? What happened? You know, when I first read this, I was like, well, okay, so when I first saw this, I read the spoilers because I was like, okay, I thought nothing was gonna happen this chapter. I thought, you know, maybe we were just gonna get like another filler chapter. But I saw this and I was like, there's no way that's real. And it's real, bro. It's so bad, dude. Why is this happening? What is the reason? What is the cause for this, right? You know, he gets a full-blown smooch, bro. Holy, dude. Brother. I don't know if he's deserving of this or not. And yeah, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of it. Holy. So it lasted a decent chunk of time, right? You know, Kazuya is completely blushing. It does not look like there's tongue action, but we can't see. It's not confirmed or denied. Dude, what am I doing? Bro, dude, I'm gonna drop this series. This is just a drop, dude. This is so terrible. Okay, whatever, bro. It's not like completely cringe, but it's just like, what is happening here? But yeah, Kazuya kind of looks stun-locked after this whole event happened, this canon event happened. And yeah, Chizuru, we don't see her facial expressions. She gives him like one last look and then just like scurries off into the house. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the end of the chapter, right? Kazuya drives off into the sunset, looking like a king, right? The taxi driver is just in awe of how beautiful his girlfriend is. And I don't know, bro. I don't know. What am I supposed to say at this point? It's just, it's Kanokari, bro. It's rag, dude. It's just, we expected some bullshit to happen and some bullshit happened. Because before this happened, this chapter, I mean, the last few chapters happened, I really thought we were gonna get a lot more to the series. Like, I thought the series was just gonna go on for a lot longer, especially after the rejection. Because I thought, hey, if Kazuya and Chizuru get together at the end of this arc, you know, the series is probably just gonna end soon. And maybe Reiji, the author of the series, is just trying to focus on his new work, which is a whole nother mess in and of itself. But I don't know what's happening anymore. You know, it's thrown me through a loop. All of my predictions have been, you know, left astray. My thinking was that if Kazuya gets rejected at this point, which he did get rejected, I thought, hey, we're gonna get Mommy, Ruka, and all, like, maybe Sumi back into the story, you know, to kind of help mend their relationships with Chizuru, because it's kind of mostly Mommy and Chizuru and like Kazuya's parents, that like that relationship, those relationships need to be fixed. And I thought that was just gonna happen if they got rejected, but I have no clue what's gonna happen anymore. You know, at this point in the series, I think we're still gonna go on for a little bit longer, maybe another 30, 40 chapters. And instead of like Ruka being a main driving factor or like a storytelling element, this will be able to like kind of shaft her even more. I mean, because she's basically already been completely shafted, but she is still in a relationship with Kazuya, and maybe this will be like kind of the nail in the coffin, signifying, hey, this isn't gonna work out. But yeah, I don't know. This chapter was terrible. If you read it, you know how terrible it was. story-wise, it does leave us, you know, guessing as to what's gonna happen. So I guess it's good in that sense. Also, there was one thing that I saw reading it the first time that I think I skipped over. Yeah, bro. Well, Kazuya was thinking about the things that happened, and like, if Chizuru loves him or if she doesn't. He was thinking about some NTR type things with Umi-kun, and maybe Chizuru was just in love with him the whole time. And I don't know, bro. Whatever. This series is stupid. But yeah, not really too much to say other than they kissed, bro. It's not the first time. I don't think it's gonna be the last time, but why is it happening here? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't give you a good reason. But yeah, that's really about it. If you have any intellectual input, please let me know, because this series has completely fried my brain. And yeah, that's really about it. So see y'all.
I'll run away into the world with you.